Accelerama! Yeah, no. It's not that glorious. It was... I remember this track because I did it recently. Honestly, I gotta be honest, I'm not a big fan of this track. I mean, it's fun because it's incredibly fast. Hold on. It's so loud. But yeah, it's an incredibly fast track. I mean, it's almost flat out everywhere, apart from a few areas. But that's kind of the problem, because there's no braking markers, which means remembering where to brake for all the for all the corners takes a lot of practice, and it's super annoying. I can't tell you how many times I had to restart this just so I could get a decent race without completely spinning out absolutely everywhere. And even then, on not even my first lap, almost lost it there. This was one of quite a few tracks that did actually make me quite angry because of, I want to say, how tricky it was not to juice up immediately. It's like I said, there's no brake markers, so you have to use the landmarks on the track to remember to brake. And because of some areas of the tracks look like others, you get confused and brake when you shouldn't, or you don't brake when you should. And that just made this track all the more annoying. Put it this way, if you weren't doing this competitively and just driving around, it's a very fun track to drive around. But if you're actually racing, it just turns into a big mess. I was doing decently. I'm in fourth, but it took a lot of fighting to get here, and a lot of not messing up. That corner is awesome. It's so that whole section, okay, is a lot of fun because it's so fast. But the problem was, but as you'll see in the next lap, it dips down so much you can't see where the rest of the track goes, which means you have no idea. Are you cutting too much? Not enough? And then you can't see where the bridge is coming up. And those little pillar things, as you saw a few seconds ago, yeah, if you hit those, you ruin your race. And I did that on one of the sort of practice races for this. It was supposed to be the actual one, but I juiced it up, so yeah. That was so irritating. Went a little bit wide there. Oops, wrong one. See, I think I tried to overtake, and it was the wrong point entirely. So then I dropped back. But yeah, we got all of these yellow cars up front. I was faster through some of the turns. Like there, I totally blew past them. I mean, no question. And I was hunting down the guy in front of me because this turn is, well, that turn right there was awful because you got to turn quite a bit actually because it's a lot tighter than it looks. And I was running wide here. I briefly forgot how tight that can get, even though it looks fast. And I was like, that's what's fast. Then I hit him because I think I got too close. I can't remember that bit. But yeah, this track, repeatedly doing it was terrible. And I mean, just, And there we go, running wide again. And you see, the thing is, I wouldn't chalk this race up to a win, even though it does look like I'm in first place. And the reason is, sort of, in order to understand where I was on the track, or at the very least how to do this track, I had to go flat out all the time. Following the AI didn't fully help all the time. So I had to get out in front so I could understand where the track was. So honestly, I think the AI won this race because I just couldn't understand I couldn't remember all the corners at once. I did later on in the race, but a lot of where I was just guesswork for this. And here we are. Here I have someone in 12th. Now, they're not doing bad for pace, or, well, I don't mean pace, what I mean is the gap between the car in front of him and him. He's actually fairly close, but he needs to close that gap. He's a little bit too far. We got a lot of sheeps. Still basic sheeps in the background. Now, here's the first bit of that fun but irritating turn. So you turn in like this. It's not actually all that fast. Then you gotta go to the outside. You see, there you go. You see how much that dips in? And then when you're on the inside of the car, you can't see the second part right as you're coming onto the bridge. In fact, I can demonstrate that if I just reverse a little bit. See? So you're coming up, and you can barely see the turn right here. So you're coming up to it. And for me, it was hard not to turn in too much. Okay, you turn in there. And then, boom, you gotta go to the right, but you can't see the turn until it's too late. In my case, I was going too fast, so I was kind of across the grass right here. Yeah, that was a fun turn, because that was a fast chicane. But it was annoying, because you just can't, I couldn't see. It might be because of how low I sit, but I couldn't see for the life of me. Let's, oops, bump it up. Oh wow, big group, big group. The AI were doing pretty well on pace, but like I said, I had to go flat out so I could remember what bits of the track were where, so I could get the sort of muscle and sound memory of what gear sounds like this and that turn, and what the car felt like and how it would react here, and so I could remember the braking zones, because I had to remember them at full speed, because that's how this track works. It's a full speed track. Then this chicane here was pretty fun. There was a few chicanes that were so, or fast S's is what I mean. They were pretty fun. Some of them you could run so wide though if you weren't careful. But very, very quickly the group spread out. I think I made this a 4-lap race. It might have been 6 because of how long the track is. But yeah, the groups very, very quickly spread out. The cars in front of them are doing the NASCAR thing. But yeah, the groups spread out so quickly because of how the track is so big and so fast. You can't be, what is the word I'm looking for? You can't be, every lap isn't identical. Okay. There are some areas that are the same, but the whole lap it's always different. There's nothing that's the same about an entire lap. And even for the AI, I think that's what the case was, and so that's what led to the eventual spreading of some of the cars. Is they just couldn't do the same thing every single lap. There's always something slightly different than the lap before. Whether it was your approach angle, your braking point, what gear you were in, how late you stayed in a gear before you changed down. Again, it was too big of a track to always be predictable, to be the same as you were on the last lap. They're still doing the NASCAR thing. I'm surprised they haven't bump drafted each other yet. So here I am, pushing it as hard as I can. I was also trying to get a big gap, because I knew at one point I'd make a mistake, and I needed that sort of safeguard so that I could recover. Because the reason why the AI aren't as competitive as they could be is so that in the event they're competitive, they're difficult enough for me to deal with on most tracks, but not so difficult to where if I make a mistake I can't recover and at least still, enjoy like a last place fight or something. But I think on this track I probably should have upped the difficulty a little bit, but those practices and those races that ultimately failed were just so irritating. This track, you couldn't afford to lose your focus. You had to be focused all the time, because if you lost focus, you'd run a little bit wide, you'd go a little bit sideways, you'd brake a little bit late, you wouldn't change down soon enough. All of those problems were a factor if you lost your focus, so I had to be concentrating all the time. There was no time to slack off. And I had to push the car to make me concentrate and focus at my full capacity. Well, when I say full capacity, I mean, that for human beings, because apparently human beings can't, use the full capacity of their brain, but whatever. But yeah, so I had to go flat out, because I had to push myself to think faster, to react fast, to concentrate. Because the only way I was going to do lap after lap after lap without crashing is, ironically, actually going faster. Going slower would mean I was sloppy, I'd brake a little bit later, not, too soon. I had to make sure it was bang on every time, and doing that meant going flat out. There was, of course, a few differences. I go too fast in a certain sector, or brake a little bit too late there. It wouldn't end up in a big crash, but it would end up in a difference to the last lap. But I just couldn't get sloppy, and going slowly would make me sloppy, because I wouldn't be pushing myself to my full potential, and so I had to do that to not mess up. So that I was working overtime to make sure the car didn't spin, didn't lock up or anything. Speed was my friend and my enemy on this track. But in order not to mess up, focus is what I needed. And to focus as hard as I could, I had to go faster to make myself do it. Because I also had music playing, because I didn't want to get bored just driving endlessly around. And basically, I was rickrolling myself for the entire race. Some of the AI though are doing really good for getting that. Well, I want to say apex, but it's not. It's not really an apex. It's just the inner turn. Oh, he's gonna go for an overtake. Ah, not quite. I wonder if he's gonna go for an overtake here. They're doing the NASCAR thing again. I want the blue car behind him to catch up. Oh, he's gonna go for an overtake. He's gonna make it stick. Voice cracked. Ah, he was close, but I don't think he was brave enough to really force the point on the car in front of him. He's really close though. He looks... this AI that we're watching, looks anxious to get past him. I mean, look, he's hurrying him up. Following so close behind. At least the blue car behind him is catching up to at least break it up a little bit. Oh, he's gonna try and overtake, but is he close enough? Ooh, he was close enough. He was brave enough. Wow. Brilliant, but now he's opened the door for the blue car. Ooh, a little bit of a compromised line. He couldn't go as fast, but he made that stick. Brilliant overtake. If only the other yellow car blocked the blue car, then... or blue Viper, I should say. Oh wow, the race ended? Oh. Does that mean I'm still going then? Okay, no, I already finished. Yeah, so, needless to say, I wasn't a big fan of this track. It was just a little bit... I feel like you had to be going too hard in order to get a really good lap, and that was really, really, really annoying. Oh wow, park right behind the AI. Oh wait. No, they pull in and then, okay. Wow, look at that line of Vipers. That's brilliant. I think I'm... Okay. Alright. Oh wow, everything's glitched out. Okay, who's in front? Who's gonna give me that line of Vipers again? Oh, I think I juiced it up. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I didn't enjoy racing on this track. It was torture. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. We will see you next month. This was actually semi-short, not because it was a fast track. It was some, what, like a 7 mile track? It was, well, no. Well, it was somewhere near there, but because of how fast it felt like a fairly short track, but the amount of turns made it so difficult to remember. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next month. Hope you enjoyed.